Good morning, Random Crafty Axe here. This is the first in a series of mass making videos. I was going to put off doing this for a couple of weeks, and then when I got up this morning, I realized that what we refer to at my house as the June birthdays were pending, as in like 2 weeks. So I need to get a group of cards made, and that's the perfect reason to do some mass making. I need 5 cards. I need 4 of them for women and 1 of them for a man. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to make 8. And the ones that I don't use for the birthday, I'll put in my donation box for Operation Gratitude. Okay, so let's get started. One of the things that I do when I'm mass making is the first decision I make is what size paper am I going to use. And in this case, I've got a whole bunch of 8.5 by 11 printed pattern paper. And I have to be honest, I always say that, I have to be honest. I should just say, I'm going to lie to you right now. But no, I have to tell you, I don't really know where I got some of this 8.5 by 11 paper. When you buy it, pattern paper in the bins in a craft store where they're stacked individually, one of the things you'll see, sometimes you'll see 8.5 by 11. A lot of times you'll see 12 by 12. Okay. So in this case, I've got the 8.5 by 11 pretty much sorted out into a separate box. And I went through it and found 2 sheets. I believe there's 2. Yeah. 2 sheets of this paper, which the next thing I looked at is, since I have this paper, do I have some cardstock that I can use for the matting that will match? And I found this. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And then the next thing I needed was some kind of a template, and that took me to Jess Crafts. Jess and her at jesscrafts.com is typically my go-to place for mass card making. I'm not saying that there aren't other people out there that do this, but Jess's site is set up so that her templates are divided by size. A lot of them are geared towards using the small cut-aparts. She donates the majority of her cards, so she also has listings of places that you can go to find, you can find like the addresses of what their parameters are, what their needs are. And I find she does her own videos on all of these. So I just want to make sure that she gets credit for this. And if you are looking for templates for mass making, in this case, we're going to get 4 cards out of 2 pieces of pattern paper. And the key here is, with the pattern paper, no scraps, okay? This one, usually I have multiple ones, but this one is number 3 in that series, okay? So let's get started. I'll put the information about her down in the description so you don't have to stop what you're doing and write it down. All right, the first thing you want to look at here is, in this template, this piece here goes this way on the card, okay? That means if you have directional paper, okay, this will work good for directional paper, meaning you want your flowers to be up and down this way and not up and down, upside down the way, okay? So we're gonna cut this first, and let me double check the camera and make sure that that's still in frame so you can see what I'm doing. All right, get out my handy dandy cutter. Now, it won't fit this way, so I'm gonna cut it this direction first. Okay, and that means that I'm cutting it at the 4.5 because I'm cutting, okay? 4.5 here. Okay, and then this needs to be 4.5. I'll show you something in just a second to keep in mind. Okay, and then I always lay my paper the way I just cut it so that I don't get confused. All right, when you're cutting like this, one of the things to look at is cutting where the line goes all the way across the page. So if this was all kinds of little boxes, you would look to make your first cut from a line that goes all the way across, okay? All right, so I have this piece now, and it is the 4 1/4, okay? They're both 4 1/4, and then the strips need to be 1 inch. And this is always kind of hard on this particular cutter, but don't take this off. I've tried that. It's a nasty cut. I didn't cut myself, but I came so close that I thought this is definitely, I'm not benefiting here. Okay, this piece I want 3 1/4. Then I want another 3 1/4. And then this is 2. Okay, so this cut is at 2 1/4. I can tell you right now we're not going to use these because I'm doing something different in here. So we're going to set that over there. This again is 3 1/4. And notice we now have enough bottom. All right, I'm going to pause the video to cut the other sheet. Okay, we have the card bases. That's this piece. Let me get that out of the way. Okay, that's this piece right here. We have those cut. Okay, these are the strips. They're going to go across here. These would go here. Okay. Except I made these on my silhouette, and they're going to go in here. Okay? So they'll have the thin matte frame around them, but I'm going to hang on to those because I'm, like I said before, we don't throw anything away. All right, so since these are 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, we need mats to go around the outside at 3 1/2 by 475. There's, okay, 3 1/2 and 3 1/2. I'm just going to cut the 475 and we'll see how it comes out. Because I don't do math. Or as someone once said in a video I was watching of a workshop, she said a situation came up and they started calculating, and the woman said, I'm sorry, I don't do public math. Okay, so 475, 475. Okay, so I have those, and then 3 1/2. 3 1/2. Okay, so this strip needs to be, this matte strip needs to be 4 1/4 by 1 1/4. So this is 1 1/4. That's good. All right, so we're going to lay that there. We'll see how many of those we end up with. As again, I don't do public math. All right, so this is 3 1/2. This is 3.5. And this is 1.5 inches instead of 1.25 inches. Okay, did I cut those right? I did not. What did I do? Okay. It may be that thing that happens when the paper is not quite the size we think it is. Okay, so this one again is $4.75. $4.75. $4.75. I think we can use this strip across the bottom to create the banner, not the banner, the mat here. This we're going to have to, I don't think we're going to be able to get that out of these. It's okay. And then this is 3.5. And folks, I keep my template like right there, so that, and I look at it, look twice, cut once. Okay. Okay, so how many have we got? 2, 4, 6, 8. All right, so we have all of those that we need. Let's look at these. These need to be 1.25 inches. 1.25 inches. 1.25 inches. If you're old enough, you will remember that back in the day, there was always a great big guillotine platform in the office at school, right? Because they had to cut lots of things, and that was before photocopy machines. So what we had also in the office was what was called a mimeograph. And if you're looking for something to do this afternoon, you should look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, there's 4 of those. So let's make this 1.25 inches. There is one other kind of cutting platform like this, and that is, it's a rotary, and it's got I had one for a while. They're big, and they've got a slit down here, and it's a round thing with a blade on it, and you can pull it back and forth. And the only advantage I could see with that is that when you're doing this, you've got some extra area out there, and it makes it a little easier. 4.25. Okay, so that was just 2, and this is 8. This is terrific. Okay, because the only thing we don't have then is the piece around the little square in the middle. And I'll show you how few scraps we ended up with. And they're the kind of the skinny little strip. This just really doesn't want to cooperate. Skinny little strips that are easy to do little things with. At some point, I'll do a video of making cards with just those strips. 4, 6, 8. All right. Now, that brings us down to these. And I have two options. I can get up and I can get another piece of that blue if I've got it, which I think I do. Or, oh, I think I want the blue. Yeah, this is not quite a blue, and it's not quite teal either. Okay, so the mat around this is 2 1/4 by 2 1/2. Because these are supposed to be 2 by 2 1/4. Now I made these, so I want to make sure that they are the size they were supposed to be, and they are. I made those using my silhouette, which is similar to a Cricut. And okay, let me do, I haven't figured out how to do a demonstration with those yet, but there are marvelous people out there that teach you how to use the silhouette and the Cricut and the design program and the cutting things and all the deals. And it took me a long time to learn how to use it, but it's been worth it because I do so much mask making. Okay, so if that's 2 1/2, okay, so with the 2 1/4, it doesn't matter because this won't fit this way. So I want 8. So 2 1/2 times 2 1/2 and 2 1/2. I'm going to pause because I refuse to do public math here. Okay, that was too hard. All right, so let's start by cutting the top strip at 2 1/2. Okay. And then this is 2 1/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to play with this. And we'll cut this one at 2 1/4. And since this is just plain paper, we can do this. I mean, it doesn't have a pattern, so 2 1/2, 4, 5, 6. So it doesn't matter which way we do it. We only get 3 out of a row. All right, so what I'll do then is I want to look and see. Okay, there's no way I can. Four and a half. I'm looking to see if I can salvage this piece. At 4, and then this is 1, 2 1/4. Okay, by salvaging that piece as by salvaging that piece as a 4, I can use it to make something like this. So that means I get more out of it. Okay, so that's 2 1/4. and it's just a sliver over. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that now while I can do it in one cut. Okay, it's 2 1/4, so 2 1/2 then is 1, 2, 3. If my husband were here, he would say, "Did you write that down?" Because if you wrote that down, then you'd remember it next time. And then I say, "Thank you, dear, for pointing that out to me." Okay, all right, so we cut all of that, and this is all we've got left. That's pretty good, okay? These little slivery bits go in the trash. These bits, there are things I can use for, and if you'll look back in Card Making Basics, you'll see that we save pieces like this to die cut things out of, okay? So those go in the scrap bin. This, I have a stack I put these in, but this will probably end up as a 4 by 5 1/4, okay? And I may be able to get 5 1/4. Yeah, I may be able to get 2 of those out of that. And we didn't use this orange, so we're going to set it aside. Okay, now we're going to put a couple of these together. I'm not going to have you watch me make the whole stack. All right, this is the card base I'm using. This is an A2 card, so it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. When I mass make, I try to do, if I knew how to speed up the video, I would make one and then speed it up. But I don't really know how to do that. Okay, so I already started putting glue on this one, so we'll glue this one down, and then I'll show you something that you might want to take into consideration when you're doing this. Okay, so anyway, as I have said, there are tools that you can use that will help you line this up, and I just do it this way. Right, so there's one. Let's just go ahead and make one all the way through. Okay. And then we want to look at this. Goes side to side on the card itself. So that means trying to find a piece where the flower is whole. And that was what I'm going to show you. Okay, because we can trim that. Okay, when we put the next one on, we'll make sure that we put that right up against there, so it'll only leave us one piece we have to trim. So we'll go ahead and do that with our handy dandy scissors and keep our fingers crossed that we make it the way we want it. Okay, so this goes here. All right, I may need to take just a scooch off of that. This goes here. Wow, that's pretty. Okay, now notice you don't see much of the pattern paper in underneath here. So that really doesn't matter. I mean, we could have even left this off and just, if you flipped over, you see, you could have just like left that off. Okay, and had this been set up so that by not doing that and not doing this, I could have got another one of these. I would have, but it's not. Okay, and that's one of the things to keep an eye out for. All right, and here's the other thing. When you are getting ready to start figuring out which ones go where, okay, start looking at like where your flowers are going to place. Like this one's got all the... Wow, this cut really came out nice. Okay. All right, so let's just put one card together. Okay, so they want me to put this one down first. and I'm going to center it. Now, if I had wanted another layer behind this, I could have done that. And since we don't really see anything, we don't really have to worry about whether or not. And then I always flip it over and trim just that little edge off there because I'm a teensy on the picky side. Okay, and then here's my sentiment. This is a very simple birthday card. The people I'm sending these to, I usually make much more complicated cards. But I'm going to put a note on the inside that that they can watch the video of how their card was made, if they would like, and also that duplicates of cards just like these were sent to Operation Gratitude, and the people who are getting these will appreciate that. Okay. All right, and then as we have started doing, this is from the stamp. This is the stamp that my granddaughter got me. I need to make sure it's got plenty of ink on it. And, okay, that won't show. Okay, Random Acts of Kindness Studio. Thanks, Kaylin. Okay, simple birthday card. Now, in this case, the ones that are not going to Operation Gratitude, but are going to family members, I will handwrite a note in here. I looked through my stamps earlier and didn't see anything that like jumped out at me and said, let's put that on the inside. Okay. And then the ones, since I need 4 of these, the other 4 will go to Operation Gratitude. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and make the rest of these up real quick and then let you look at them. Okay, coming in on the home stretch of the backgrounds. This is the main mat. I've never actually timed how long it takes me to do these. As simple as these are, it doesn't take very long. One of the things I could have done is you could put this on here and then put a sentiment right here. We might do that. Let me get the birthday ones done. I have 1 birthday over there, 2. Operation Gratitude takes birthday cards. The cards go blank on the inside in the care package. The care package, if you look on the site, there's all kinds of things you can donate. There is an amazing volunteer group that gets together and puts them together, and they each package, from what I understand, gets 5 cards. And then, since there's no Hallmark where they are, they, the deployed service people can fill the cards out and mail them home. And I just think it's amazing. I've also been told that, because people have said, well, how do you know which cards they need? And they've said, well, we don't know which cards they need. And when the packets get there, they tend to take all the cards and put them in a central spot, and everybody goes through and picks out which ones they need. So sometimes the birthday cards I send are geared towards children, because we know that our service people have kids. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3 over there. Forbes Postal and card banks. Yeah, so they have kids, some of them, moms. I try to make some that are kind of have a masculine edge in case they're sending a card back to their dad. I do a lot of thinking of you, because with thinking of you, you can say thinking of you, and you open it up and it says on your birthday, okay, or on your anniversary, or just because I miss you. Okay, so 1, trying to get 4 made here. Looks like I bought these. These may have been Paper Studio. Okay. Early on in this process, I bought so much paper. I was like in love with patterned paper, and I have 8.5 by 11. I have 6 by 8s. I have 12 by 12s, and that's why Jess Crafts is my favorite place in the whole world, because she has templates for all those sizes, so that I don't end up with lots and lots and lots of scraps. Okay. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and get something out that we can use to do the next batch. Okay, I got a couple of things out. Let's try what we were just talking about a moment ago, which was the idea that we would use, instead of the happy birthday, since I have the 4 I need set aside to finish. Okay. And then this goes across the top. I think the last one I put together, I put it underneath, didn't I? I did. Okay, so that can go across the top. So then this can go here. I'm going to do something here. Nope, it's not going to work. Needed to do that ahead of time. You can put another piece of cardstock in underneath there, and that will make this more flat. Okay, so let's get our flowers right side up. And then these are some little sentiments that I made on my silhouette. We can just stick that right there. Looky there. So now it's just it's a hello card instead of a happy birthday. Okay, so that would work. And let's do one of these. Let me take a look at the cards on top. So that goes there. The thing about that is you lose all of that flour, which is okay, I guess. Exactly where you put the strip is kind of up to you. I probably wouldn't put it way high on the card. I use Barely Arts glue. I'm into liquid glues rather than double-sided tape because double-sided tape you don't really get what is referred to commonly as wiggle room, which is also known as, oops, I didn't mean to put it there. Okay. Okay. All right, there's the 4 birthday cards. I'm going to pause again. I will be right back. Okay, as I was putting one of these last ones together, I realized that by putting the strip on, I was losing a lot of the pretty flowers on the outside. So I put the strip on the inside to kind of decorate the inside of the card. So then on this one, I decided to go back to this, and because this is all green, I can put my hello there, and I think I'm going to move the square down this way, and then it almost makes it look like the flower continues there. Okay, and then I'll put this on the inside. I don't want to get it too far into the fold so that it messes with the fold. But then this hangs over just a teensy bit. Okay. 2. Okay, what do I do with this one? I want to do something. Can you think of something different? Can you think of something different? Can I hear you hollering? Try this, try this. Okay. Okay, so we could just put this and not put any of these things on the front, but we've got this whole stack of little pretty things over here. Trying to figure out, this one looks like it's got a lot of flowers on it, and I think I'll put it down in the corner like I did the previous one, kind of like that. All right, one of the things that the people who do these templates always tell us in their videos is use this as a jumping off point. Okay, so like for example, what we found was that we could put the square in a different spot, that we could put the strip on the inside of the card instead of the outside of the card, that we could, you know, we could move something around, that the strip could be low on the card or higher on the card, and that's what they want us to do, and that's how the templates work. Or you can just make them exactly the way they are. Okay, so that's 4. Let's see, we have all these left, and we only have one of these to put them on. 3, 4. Okay, I've got an idea of what I want to do with this. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got a couple of things I'm going to do here. Basically, I'm going to take the pieces that I've got. All right, I'm going to glue. I could have cut another piece of blue, but I didn't want to do that. I've taken the 4-inch piece that I set aside, I guess, to do this with. All right, I went through my scraps that I have, and I found a piece of orange that's just laying there, not doing anything. So I'm going to cut it, and I'll show you how I do that. Okay. Then I'll lay this across here just to give this some dimension. And then I'm not going to put any sentiment on the outside of this. They like to get a few. I try to put a couple of these in every batch that I send. How many in a batch, Barbara? I can hear you asking. 200 minimum, 400 depending on which box I use. I get the boxes at the post office. There's one that is just the right size. I also use a company called Pirate Shipping, where I have to weigh the boxes and then purchase the postage through them, and I print the labels out. Operation Gratitude also has something called the Give Back Box label, which a philanthropic organization they work with uses and provides the postage for the labels. Those boxes you can send up to 80 pounds in. I'm not that person, but I can tell you that a box of 300 to 500 cards gets pretty hefty. I also, since I also I crochet scarves, which is another thing they ask for. Which is another thing they ask for, and I crochet those, and I can put a dozen maybe in a box. Now, the happy birthday squares, I can use those on something else. Okay, this is hard because I want the edge to be just right. Pretty good. Okay, and look, that's all that's left out of a piece of scrap that was just setting in a bundle like this. Okay, and then this can go here. And this can go down here in the corner. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's spread it out and see what we've got. Okay, starting with 2 pieces of pattern paper and 3 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. We got 2 plain cards, 1 happy birthday, 2 happy birthday, 3 hello cards. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then these are my the birthday cards that will go in the mail with a little note that says, if you want to watch the video where I made your card, here it is. Dana, Diane, Amanda, and Rebecca. Okay. So the 4 cards, these were the ones I started out with. These 5, 7 will go in my donation box. My donation box is up to 30 cards from the card making that I've done in the last couple of weeks. All right. Thank you for being here. Random Crafty X, if you would do me the favor of subscribing, I would appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anything. They won't have any information on you, but it does help push the videos out to anyone who is looking for basic card making videos. And since I'm always advertising for Operation Gratitude, it helps with that. So just, click on the subscribe. And if you want to see what else I'm doing on my channel, you can click on the channel name and it will take you to a series of playlists that you can take a look at. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Come back soon.